Dave's 5 Hot Takes, yeah! Hey guys, and welcome back to Dave's 5 Hot Takes. I'm really excited about today in this episode because it's an interview episode with my friend Kevin Griffin from Better Than Ezra and many other things as you'll come to know. But I will ask for some forgiveness. This is so embarrassing, but I was kind of talking off mic the whole time, and because I hadn't figured out how to monitor my own vocal, which is a whole other thing. I don't sound great, but Kevin sounds amazing, and that's all that matters. But trust me, I have rectified this problem that will not sound like that from now on. But just bear with me for this one episode that my vocal is going to sound a little bizarre. He sounds great, which is all that matters. And I liked the episode too much to be like, to either throw it away or ask him to do it again. So thank you all for your patience. I promise moving forward, it will sound a lot better than that. Kevin is a stud. He's produced, written, and co-written albums and songs that have sold in the excess of 30 million copies. He's produced and written songs for Taylor Swift, Train, Sugarland, Bare Naked Ladies, Christina Perri, and James Blunt. Don't even heard of those people. Including 3 number 1 smash hits, Stuck Like Glue by Sugarland, Collide by Howie Day, and Good by Better Than Ezra, his own band. They started in 95. Their debut record, Deluxe, which I'm still obsessed with, went double platinum. Good off of that record, which everybody and their mother knows was a number 1 song for them. He also, and they've sold millions of records since, he founded Pilgrimage Music Festival, which is a 2-day festival down in Franklin, Tennessee. Justin Timberlake is a partner in that, which is really cool. It's an awesome festival. I haven't had the chance to go yet, but I know everybody, their mother's been, and I plan on going very soon. It's an incredible thing to start a festival like that, and especially for it to be doing well. So that's as much applaudable as all of his other ventures, because that's such a hard thing to do. Kevin, for me, he was one of the people that I wanted to do this with first, selfishly, because I knew it would just be such an easy thing for me to talk to him. I've known Kevin for probably about a decade now, and we've written couple times. First time I wrote with him, I thought I was going to wet my pants to be in his presence, because Better Than Ezra is just a seminal band to me. They're a band that's just was such a huge part of my teenage years. Quick story: the day that my parents took me and my 2 younger siblings out of school in Mississippi to take us to Jackson for the day to do some doctor visits and a little bit of shopping and stuff, they told us in the car ride that we were moving to Knoxville a couple months from then. And one of the ways that they sort of satiated our sadness, they let me go and they said, "What do you guys can each kind of have like a treat, because I know this is a hard day," which was not a usual thing. I hope that doesn't speak to my parents. They were wonderful and still are wonderful parents. So that was kind of a fun little moment. So anyway, I wanted to go to the record store, and I bought Kenny Loggins' Live from the Redwoods and Better Than Ezra's Deluxe. Both albums to me, I love dearly. But Deluxe was one of those moments in time, and this is why I think music matters so much to us, especially in our childhood years, where a huge season of life was happening, and I had a soundtrack to it in that record because I was listening to it so much. And so Kevin his music has been a huge part of my growing up, and it's an honor to be a friend of his. We had a really fun time talking. We talked about a lot of fun, crazy things. His hot takes are wonderful. I had so much fun hearing. He's got a couple of really hot ones, so put on your oven mitts, your catcher's gloves. I don't know what you need to handle hot things, but put those on. But it was a real honor to have him, and I'm very proud to be a friend of his. He's just such a wonderful dude. And I think, I'll say this lastly, he's just a creative guy. I mean, it's so cool to see he's had such a long career in music, and that he's still creating as good and as much as he is now. That's always fun to see, some of my idols still doing it so well, because it's inspiring to me. So it was an honor to get to sit and laugh and learn with Kevin. So y'all give it up and get buckled up and ready for the hot takes that Kevin brings to us. So without further ado, this is me and Kevin Griffin on Dave's 5 Hot Takes. Okay, folks, this is an exciting day, year, month, moment of my life. Here on Dave's 5 Hot Takes, we have one of my favorites. Also one of the most handsome people. Do I tell you that? I feel like I tell you how handsome you are every time.
Oh, God. But, right back at you, Dave.
Don't say that. Don't do that.
No, really.
It belittles my handsome.
I'll take it, but I'm more than just a pretty face.
And that's what we're going to do. That's actually what we're going to find today. So one of the things that I think is also funny about you, KG, if we can go there, is that you, like my other tall friend, Charles Kelly, every time I see you, I think you get taller.
People always think that I've gotten taller and then I've lost weight. I'm like, and as a result, I've grown my whole life with this being self-conscious about being too skinny. And I'm like, no, I'm the same height since 22.
Yes.
I weigh 193 pounds. I'm not too skinny. Leave me alone. But it's just, and people who battle weight probably go, screw you. I have no sympathy for you. But we all carry our burden. We all have our burden.
and there yours is.
Body shaming me. I'm a late bloomer with songwriting, with growth of physical and spiritual and musical.
See, I disagree with that because so one of the things in spelunking the Kevin Griffin catalog.
Oh gosh.
It'd be that Better Than Ezra or, your own record, is that, first of all, you don't take bad pictures. That was the first thing that I realized, is whatever is happening, I don't know if it's the same person.
I know my angles.
But one of the things I think is really fascinating about you is you started really young. I mean, you were really young when y'all started Better Than Ezra.
Well, I was really young when I first performed. I was in second grade. I performed.
Oh, wow.
It's a Small World on a gondola for second grade. And
is there a better place to perform that?
No, a gondola, Small World. I was Little Italy in Oak Grove, Louisiana, which was amazing. That kind of started, but actually, Ezra started I was always in bands, but Better Than Ezra started my junior year of college. But it wasn't until we'd been around. I was 27 when we got signed, but we lied about our age.
Wow. No,
so it said I was 25. So to this day, if the local paper says, musician Kevin Griffin of Better Than Ezra, I'm always 2 years younger than I actually am. And my friends will call me up and go, "You're pathetic."
But the math always follows. Like once you've cemented that,
once you're in the databases, it's done. So I'm not gonna. Yes, as a man of a certain age, it's pathetic that I've lied my whole life. But I'm taking it.
All that is that's our version of lipo.
It is, but I always kind of felt like, I'm glad the perception is that I was young, but no, when in '95 when Ezra took off, I was 27, and so it's funny because we thought, oh my God, now at my ripe old age, I'm like 27. You're a baby, just relax.
Well, but hold on, but if you do the math and keep going backwards, that means Deluxe would have been recorded though, like a year before that, right?
No. Actually, we started recording Deluxe in '92. I did it for a year in an apartment in West Hollywood on half-inch 16-track analog tape.
Oh my gosh!
And then we put it out ourselves in '93 on our own label. But then it got signed by Elektra in February of '95, and then came out.
So it actually proves true though, because that means you guys would have made that in your early 20s, and you had a record before that.
We did. We had it's a cassette.
A cassette. So that sticks with the timeline of like you started writing that record.
The oldest song on Deluxe was written in 1990, and that's Wah-Uh, or Good.
Yeah, Wah-Uh. Which means how old were you when you wrote that?
Real age or
let's do real age, not the
real age. So let's see, 30, I was 22.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like young. I mean, you had been doing, and that's not counting the record before that.
So I guess so, but maybe it's because I've worked so much in Nashville, as a songwriter, as a gun for hire, as we call it.
GFH.
DB. Can I call you DB? Did your parents name you for decibels?
Yes, they knew. It was prophetic.
They knew?
I think that's one of the things that I think is so fun about talking to friends who've played music for a while, because especially with this podcast with Dave's 5 Hot Takes, you've done this a while. And I think that's why I asked the question about you starting when you did, is this isn't something that, later in your 20s, you're dabbling in songwriting, and then you find, this is something you've done for a long time.
Yeah. And to finish the thought, I work with so many artists who are 16, 17, 18 that I felt, when I think of when it happened for me, I feel like a late bloomer. So just to close that loop, there's always listeners who are like, wait, they left that hanging. That's a loose end and drive me cuckoo.
We're pros, Kevin. We're pros.
I did it for a long time. The first recording I made, I was 12. My band entered a country talent contest for a local country station in Monroe, Louisiana, and we were a rock band. We performed rock songs. We played Cold Gin by Kiss. We did Cocaine by Eric Clapton, and we did Jesse's Girl. Then we did Xanadu by Rush, the 9-minute long epic. We had the most schizophrenic set list of all time, but we won the contest.
See, there you go. I want to start laughing, and I'm not really be this one about the thought of a 12-year-old singing the themes of Cocaine.
Okay.
And then Jesse's Girl.
Jesse's Girl.
Which are pretty, those are pretty adult sort of themes.
Well,
here.
there's some type of connection. I'm not astute enough to see it, but somebody out there can. There's some brilliance. It's like a national treasure, Nicolas Cage kind of deal. There's some type.
Yes.
It involves a Knights Templar and the skulls, the Yale Skull and Bones Club. I can't figure this shit out.
My God.
I'm just a singer in the 90s, man, Dave.
You're here having a good time. So let me ask this: as we sort of embark on our 5 hot takes before we get to number 1, that's one of the things that I was so excited about having you on. Is that you love music. You can tell that you're someone who has not only, like you sang again, second grade was the first, the outing of Kevin Griffin. So I think these things are especially fun for me for people who really have. You don't just make music; you have a real love for music.
Yeah, and it's a saying that you've heard so often, but I heard it again. That if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And we've both been so fortunate enough to be able to make a living playing music, because that's all I ever really wanted to do since the first day my dad brought home "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," Elton John, and "Houses of the Holy," Led Zeppelin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was the same day?
My dad brought home 5 albums to me and my brother when he bought us a stereo with a vinyl player. It was Stevie Wonder, Inner Visions.
Oh, my gosh.
It was Sly and the Family Stone. It's the white cover with Sly and black leather, doing like a kick.
Mm-hmm. Kick, yeah.
It was Led Zeppelin, House of the Holy, Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and then there always has to be a dog. It was a Canned Heat album.
Hey, but still, you can do a lot worse.
Yes, so those are my 5 albums. But I knew since that moment that when I just dove into to the liner notes of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and if people remember, you open it up and there were all those. It was a double album, and so all these lyrics and the brilliant lyrics of Bernie Taupin and the Paul Buckmaster string arrangements. And,
yes.
And the melodies by Elton John. And I was so hooked, and it's never ended, man. It's never ended.
I don't know that I could pick 4 especially, but I'll throw in the Canned Heat. That's a really good introduction to music.
I know, right? And my dad was not like a music aficionado. He loved Elvis and Joe Cocker and Janis Joplin, but he wasn't like a music snob. But those stand.
That is incredible.
I bet it was some kind of early 70s version of Jack Black from High Fidelity. Remember that? He said, you want this and you want this.
Yeah. And the minute your dad grabbed the Cher record, he slapped
the Cher. No, we shan't.
What do you do? Is this for your kid? Don't you dare play him that.
You don't you dare do that.
Okay, so with all of these things, this is where we start our 5 hot takes. So all of this tutorial, it has brought you to this. So what's the first hot take?
Hot take 1.
My first hot take is that in order to save music as we know it, some firebrand, some maverick, we don't know, or is already existing, needs to bring back the modulation in music. Somebody needs to bring back the key change, DB. And
come on, Kev, preach.
In songwriting, these days, when we're writing a song, when we do and a modulation to the uninitiated is just changing the key. Usually you go up, and these days we all laugh at it. We all we all look down our nose at it because instantly it cheeses out a song. It makes it sound like a Michael Bolton song. I love Michael Bolton, by the way.
Thank you. Please make that clear.
But there are these epic moments like Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. The key change, when it happens, it's on the word change, and they change the key.
Kevin, what happened? What happened to us?
I tell you what happened, and I can say this: we're not as good musicians as they used to be.
Thank you.
We're not as good because man, I don't know if you've been able to do songwriting rounds with musicians from the 70s.
My gosh,
like with John Oates. I'll do stuff with John Oates sometimes, or the guy from Ambrosia. I space on his name.
Yes.
But those guys they grew up playing jazz and music theory. I come from the world of REM and the Smiths, and I couldn't play. I love 70s rock like Van Halen and Journey and stuff like that. I love all that. But I couldn't play those guitar parts, so it wasn't until REM came along and stuff like, oh, I can play and compete. So that's the world I come from. So I'm in a very first position chord world. So the idea, like, Kevin, do the inversion seventh and the suspended eighth and ninth. And I'm like, what? It's like witchcraft. It's like you might as well be a Wiccan or talking to me like a druid or something. So I think that they were better musicians. So that world wasn't foreign or scary or like a door that shouldn't be, unlocked. So the modulation is so cool. That said, talking about Hall & Oates, the best modulation in my
come on,
is 4 minutes and 20 seconds into "She's Gone" by Hall & Oates, where they go up 3 half steps, then they finally go. She's gone. And it's such a release. It's an orgasmic, musical moment, And I gotta say, I should heed my own words, because Better Than Ezra's biggest song, Good, modulates at the bridge. No, it goes up a whole step.
And then goes back down.
Talk to me. Preach on this for a second. What are we missing without key changes? Why is it so important?
Well, what it does, it takes a song to a whole new place, and it's just really like jumping. It's like just taking a leap. As they say, leap and the net will appear. That's what we all need to do, Dave.
Thank you.
And the net will appear. So that net, in musical terms, is the modulation. So I want somebody like Ed Sheeran, or what's the guy who is Billie Eilish's Phineas, or somebody like that, or even like the Killers, to do a new single, and it's got an unabashed 70s key change. And I think suddenly, because it's like you're always like, what do we bring back? We're always recycling. Let's bring back and recycle the modulation, the key change.
And I agree. I think it's a color in a color wheel. Like any tool, we should get the melody higher in the choruses. We should do a bridge that does halftime. Whatever those little tools are, key change is a tool to me that just sadly is atrophied. It's like, because we don't know how to do it, it's sort of not on your little color wheel anymore.
And we're scared of it. We laugh at it, but in truth, we're frightened of it. It's funny when we're writing songs. It's like you get to the second verse and you've written half that second verse, and like, should we do ye old half second verse? And you go, why, yes, we should. And then you finish the second chorus. Should we do ye old breakdown third chorus? Or ye old bring back second pre-chorus for a quiet
for the bridge
intro.
Yes.
So let's bring back the really ye old, and when I say old, it's with an E at the end. Ye old.
Ye old. So this is a good chance for me to bring up Good, the song.
Yes.
This song, I could do a 5 hot takes on this song. I really could. And let me tell you why. I'll sort of, because I want to talk about Good. It is so full of hooks. I think, one of my premises on...
Premi.
Thank you, Lakeside.
Premi from the Latin to posit, to the Gaelic, which was Roshiki.
Oh my God, I digress. But the thing about Good, I really love doing this on this podcast, is I feel like when you sort of peel back layers on songs that work, right? When you sort of lift the hood on these monumental songs, hit songs, most of the time, well, it is. You realize, you see the inner workings of why these things hold up. I want to sort of walk through this song.
Oh God, I love this.
Yeah, buckle up. So you have the intro, which is the beginning of hooks. Like, you're like, oh, I like this already. Which, let me tell you the magic juice that I love that you did. That C7. People sleep on that chord, because if you look up tabs on that song, everybody's like, oh, hear the chorus. And I'm like, no, that's not right.
Yeah. People leave out the 7.
And that's half the hook, right?
The dominant 7, the C7 was if you wanted to unlock the door of alternative rock for the 90s,
yes.
Instead, and dance with Sauron, then then you had to use the 7. Otherwise, you're playing a John Denver song.
Listen, I can't stop laughing. Was the C7 the ring to rule them all? Was that what it was?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, when Frodo goes into that netherworld where he's half ghost, that's the musical equivalent of the ring is a C7.
I'm laughing about that all day today. Okay, so
the chord to rule them all.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't stop laughing. Okay, so then here's just the brilliance of the song just kind of keeps unfolding. So you have the intro, then everything drops out. So you have the bass. So you're singing on top of just the bass and the drums, which is so great. No electric guitar, which kind of comes in and out, the turnarounds.
The blah, it's the seventh, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's great. So already there's unrest that sort of then goes away to this sort of simplistic thing again, right?
Right.
The wahoo, which is, dude, and this is what I love about
David.
And this is why
it's wah-uh.
Wah-uh. I'm sorry. Is it a wah-uh pedal?
It's trademarked.
In fact, I'm getting charged for every time I've said it. So here's the thing that I love about this, Kevin, is I love, someone's natural gift for something when at such a young age, somehow in your, Bird just nailed my window, somehow in your juvenile brain, you thought, hey, that's cool to do. Like, you weren't sitting around, yes, you had information and music coming in, but just in your sort of God-given weird natural abilities, young KG was going, oh, that's a cool hook. And it keeps happening to the song. So you have, thank you. Then there's a turnaround. Now, when the electric guitar comes in, I think this is fascinating, it's a hook. So you're not just chucking along. You know what I mean? Like, because that's a very thought through thing, I'm assuming, right?
It is. And it's funny because it's such a simple song. And look, that song is the blueprint of the 90s, really. It was all about using the same chords and using dynamics to make the changes. And there's the name of a Pixies documentary was called Loud, Quiet, Loud. And that's what it was. It was all about the use of distortion pedals. But then it goes, but when I wrote that song, I was listening to a bunch of Dylan and I was like, oh my God, he's just doing the same chords and using dynamics and just changing his melodies. It doesn't need to be difficult. So it was really overt. When I wrote Good, it was really an exercise in trying to write a Dylan song, but with having REM, but especially the Pixies in my brain. But it was.
It's a wash of those things.
Wah-uh was supposed to be a lyric.
No!
It was supposed to be a lyric, but I played the song during sound check at this place called WC Don's in Jackson, Mississippi.
Come on, get in.
The first place we ever played it was in Jackson, Mississippi. It was WC Don's was a double wide trailer, and I didn't have the lyrics finished, but we played it and people went batshit crazy.
And so you just left it. You went. That's it.
Oh yeah, Wah-uh became the man.
See, this is you don't understand. You're stoking the fires of Mount Doom inside me, Kevin.
Yeah.
For staying with the analogy, but then we can't sleep on this. We have to go back to what you said. The key change up, back down.
Yeah.
Please explain that to me.
It's funny. Before you know what not to do, you do stuff. And when you if you listen to your old Dave Barnes records, like, what was I thinking? I listened to like the bridges of King of New Orleans and Desperately Wanting. It's just this riff tangent that just goes out, and it was like, and there's just this naivete and this the allure of something that's just so wrong. It really sticks out, and I honestly don't remember why we went up, but at some point we're like, I don't want to do a lead. Let's do a key change. And the funny thing is, I remember going, okay, is this, I'm up a whole step, that's A major, E major, F sharp minor, D seventh, and
then you go back down.
It's so plotting and caveman-esque. but man, it just works. Caveman-esque is the name of my next
I thought that was the name of your autobiography. So this is weird. This is weird because I want to get back to this after this next hot take because I feel like you're reading my notes on this, Kev, because I have literally those two songs and bridges, but we're going to get to that. Okay. So let's talk about hot take 2.
Hot take 2.
Hot take 2. This is a quick one. And look, the best podcasts are controversial. So let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
I'm going to say that the best song ever written with the title Jolene is not written by Dolly Parton.
Oh, I like this.
Ray LaMontagne.
Oh God!
And I love Dolly Parton; she's my favorite. But Jolene by Ray LaMontagne came on the Spotify machine the other day, and I was like, I was reminded how it's the best lyrics, the best melody, the best heartbreaking song I've ever heard, and it's just one of my favorites. So I love Jolene, the Dolly Parton song, but in the pantheon of Jolene songs, and there's so many Jolene.
I love that. I love this.
The Ray LaMontagne Jolene, cocaine flame in my bloodstream, sold my coal when I hit Spokane, bought myself a hard pack of cigarettes in the early morning rain. These days, my hands, they don't feel like mine. My eyes been burned by dust, I'm blind. Held you in my arms one time for so long. And then that Jolene. Oh, it's just so good.
It's one of my favorite things about music, and I've talked about this some on the podcast, that you can have the same title. And Jolene is not a girl, you're the best.
That was ballsy for him to do.
It was.
You may as well call a song "Stairway to Heaven" or California. I mean, you don't write a song called Jolene, and he was so. Maybe he was like, knowing Ray LaMontagne, he'd be like, I never had heard this song, Jolene.
Oh, that's the truth.
He said that.
Oh, yeah. He had never heard that. So with Jolene, don't you think it is interesting? I think the Dolly song informs his, though. I think most people listen with that song in mind. It's not that it's the same girl, obviously, but I think because that. I think if he had written Jolene as an up song, it'd be a different story. Right. Because it stays in that path of heartbreak, pain, I can't help but wonder if it informs how you listen to the new one. Almost like a sequel. Maybe.
Gosh, that's a deep thought that I haven't even considered, Dave, and leave it to you to go somewhere intellectually where I don't fear to tread, but I don't even know it exists. And maybe there's a long history in literature of taking a historic figure in a novel and writing a whole new story about that.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. So maybe if queried, and let's if when queried, thus spoke Ray LaMontagne. Maybe Ray would say, yes, I wrote it as the voice or in a narrative of the man that Jolene stole from the narrator in Dolly Parton song. Maybe he said say that, but at any rate, I prefer. I think.
Listen, I respect.
It's rare to take that on and then to raise the bar, up the ante with somebody as great a songwriter. That's Dolly Parton. That's just and it's a bold move, but
So let's circle back. I want to talk about this. You talk about the bridges, which I literally had written those songs down. I would add to that. Just in general, I think one of the things that's really fascinating about your writing is I sort of did this deep dive, which is funny because I knew these songs anyway so well. But to me, and this is I'm gonna push back with a hot take. I kind of believe this, and I don't know if this will ruffle the feathers of many small villages, but I do feel like sometimes I really struggle with this. I think some songwriters sometimes are only as good as their bridges are. And I think one thing that you do a really good job of, I think you are really, really, really good at this. This may be osmotic, it may be purposeful, but I think you have an incredible understanding of a bridge as another way to make this song great. Not let's get through the bridge so we can get back to the chorus. And I think something, and to the point, and you said this yourself, Kev, like with King of New Orleans, and especially that Desperately Wanting, which to me I want to talk about odd timing, but that's even another point. Okay,
that's a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other thing. But I do time shift with Kevin and Dave. Where they
What would our tagline? What would our opening thing we say? Wow! This is Time Shift with Dave and Kevin.
It would be something about the passing of time. So I think you're just such a great bridge writer. I think you really.
That may be a really sweet, real prop, or it may be the biggest dig ever.
No. Because to me, I feel like most people approach songs in the songwriting world, especially in the professional songwriting. A bridge is a pain. You get to the bridge. It's like if you're driving along, you hit where you're about to do the bridge, and you can feel it in the room. Everybody's like, oh, okay. What do we do? Now, I think that's really different as an artist,
right?
Because you are sitting by yourself most of the time, especially back in the day. and you're writing those songs. So you're not having the counsel of Elrond. I love that we're sticking to this. But, you know, where you're going like, should we do this?
It worked for Robert Plant. Let's have everything we write and do have something to do with Lord of the Rings.
I know. I'll never forget when I realized that, which is a whole other podcast. But I would love to hear sort of your perspectives on that, because I just don't think you ever shirk bridges. Like, you seem to really step into them.
Well, let's first reflect on the state of bridges now. And we'll call this the Bridges of Madison. What the fuck happened to bridges?
Yeah, where did they go? I literally wrote next to about bridges. I said I should call him New York City for how much he loves bridges. You know, I digress.
But now songs are super short. You know, when we're writing a song, good was 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I know that because the label wanted to make it shorter. Yeah. And we're like, no, it's fine. But now so many songs you listen to on the radio are 2.5 minutes to 2 minutes, 50 seconds, you know, and there is no space for a bridge. And in songwriting, especially pop songwriting sessions, no one wants to do a bridge. You'll just do some cool manipulation of a vocal melody and use Alter Boy and pitch it up and twist it and mangle it and throw it into RC20, which is, you know, retro color, that plug-in, you know, and you don't do a bridge. But certainly for the heyday of Better Than Ezra, and still for me to this day, the bridge is just this great palate cleanser, breath of fresh air, a tool or opportunity to do a mission statement of the entire song 2/3 of the way through the song.
Yes.
You know, you could say in your bridge what the whole song is about if you're lucky enough to catch that muse. It's when you're writing a song, it's really like running around the room with the butterfly net trying to catch
right.
And it's always there. Most of the times you don't see it, but that game-changing song is always there. And so that game-changing lyric that can be your bridge is always there. But, you know, it's funny now when I play Better Than Ezra songs and I get to the bridge of, say, a song called A Lifetime. You know,
oh my gosh!
And they were like these epic scene changes, you know, and they were big and tons of movement, and so I loved the bridge. I love bridges. They're almost kind of a joke, you know, like you pop your head into a songwriting, you know, into that, you know, if you're at a publisher on Music Row, you stick your head in, you go, hey guys, you need a bridge? You know, that's a good song. You need a bridge for it. You know, there's a famous writer who's known for who really is, and there's no irony. There's a famous, successful Nashville songwriter who is known for sticking his head into hit songwriter rooms and go, hey guys, can I write a bridge to that song?
Dude, I mean, for sure.
And we'll talk off the record. We'll talk.
OTR.
And we'll probably say, we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll say his name.
I know.
Maybe it's she. Maybe he or she. Listen, and I like that you're not binary. You're not a binary gender podcast. You're gender neutral, and you've always been gender neutral to me, and I feel good about that. That's why I agreed to do the podcast.
Thank you for that. Thank you. You'll need to reread that contract, by the way. Give me 3. What's hot take 3?
Hot take 3.
Hot take number 3 is there's a lot of great leads. Now, I'm not talking about guitar hooks like beginning of Sweet Child of Mine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a great solo like the ones that Dave Gilmour did for Pink Floyd, like those 2 solos in Comfortably Numb. Hold a second.
Oh, you know it. You're going to play it, and it's going to make me happy. Look at you, busting it out.
Yeah, it's something like that. Anyhow, but my favorite solo ever is.
Oh, I love this.
And you're gonna know it. And here's what defines a great solo. If it's gonna live in this heady realm, is it's got to be a solo that when you say the song, you instantly know what the solo is. And it's a song by the Commodores, and the song is called Easy.
Dude, come on.
Okay, that is, I mean, who was the guitarist? I mean, Lionel didn't write that. He probably just said, yo, Jimmy, give me a lead, and Jimmy, or I'm just saying whoever did it,
Sweet Jimmy,
guitarist, Sweet Jimmy, did it, and it's so iconic. And there's so many iconic leads, but that's one that just comes on. You're like, oh my god! And arguably, he should have gotten songwriting for that solo contribution.
Okay, Kevin, let me ask you this: when you hear that, so what do we have to learn from that performance? Like, for all the musicians, for all the listeners too, all the songwriters, but I would say for all the players especially, what's the takeaway?
The takeaway is that every part of the song is an opportunity to have a hook.
Come on.
Every part, from the beginning to the end, the bridge to that last, listen, the song Good has, at the last second has something that fans live for, and it's Tom drumming through a distorted little cassette player microphone going, yeah, that's right. I'm never afraid of like, where can we add a little hook? Where can we add this ear candy and a guitar lead? Spend time on that lead, and then take whatever you've done and dumb it down. And if in doubt, then go listen to Mike Campbell play some solos for Tom Petty, and he's the king of it. These great hooky guitar parts, but a lead can just be, listen to that lead, listen to Mike Campbell leads, listen to David Gilmour leads, and spend time and just woodshed on the lead and make it iconic.
I think of that solo especially, and the personality of that solo is what makes it what it is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He was like, I want to do, like, in every,
it's all fuzzed out, and it just sounds so dope, and
but there was a guy like me in that room going like, that's not going to work.
Oh yeah,
I'm so glad he didn't listen to that guy. He was like, I think it's weird and cool, and now it's one of the best guitar solos of all time.
There's also like, if you listen to Maggie May, Rod Stewart, there's a guitar solo that it's not a baritone guitar part, but it's in the mid range.
Yeah.
And then it just goes down super, super low and kind of distorts the input level, and they kept it. And it's just dope, and it's just those moments that make a classic song. And Easy was already a hit. It's Lionel Richie, it's the Commodores, but that solo is what takes, for me, is the maraschino cherry on the top.
Let's talk about Odd Time. And I really want to say this. One of the things that I've always loved about the Better Than Ezra records, and I would say especially to me, Friction Baby and How Does Your Garden Grow, is the drums. And so I grew up a drummer. The drums are so...
I didn't know that. Really? Can you play drums?
Yeah.
God, I'm envious of you.
So I went to college for it.
I'm terrible.
I'm terrible now. But
you can't manufacture drum talent.
No.
You can have no talent in guitar or bass and pass. You can be passable, but if you don't have the gift of this Ginger Baker, Dave Barnes, Neil Peart,
thank you.
then you just are. You're going to sound terrible, and that's
so. What is that about you, and especially the band that you guys were collectively so in agreement with? I mean, even on Deluxe, I mean, those two instruments are really featured, bass and drums. I think of I Do actually off of Closer, and the bass part on that, which is incredible. But like you as a band, you're not the lead singer who's going like, everybody's got to shut up and make room for the song. You really have this understanding of like, I mean, I think of At the Start. I mean, dude, that there are Live Again to me is one of my, and I'm going to do a hot take on this some way. It's one of the best drum parts in the history of time. Why is that such a big deal, and why are you so okay with that being what it is, a feature?
First off, for you to say that is very flattering, and thank you very much, because that you feel that way is super cool. Because I learned really early on that the best bands were this rare convergence, and in the millions of bands that get formed and break up and suck and that are great. The best bands are this rare instance where 3, 4, 5 people get together and they each bring something unique to the table. And look, the Beatles, the Who, there's just so many bands where they brought something. I'm not putting Better Than Ezra up in that, but in our own modest way, I realized that if our band was going to be successful, it was going to have those elements. And it's not. And I really think what you're talking about really started happening on our second album, Friction Baby, when we got Travis McNabb on drums. Tom Drummond, our bass player, already had this great sound. And look, he was a 90s bass player with a Spectre bass and a pick, But then soon we were like, you gotta drop the Spectre. Let's just get a P bass. Let's get a Fender P bass. But he just has Tom has this great, aggressive, picky, but with some warmth bass playing style. And look, he was a big Geddy Lee fan, big Rush fan, big John Entwistle fan. Really, with the second album, I'd always admired Travis McNabb's drumming. And Travis grew up in New Orleans, and he was a student of Zigaboo Modulest, which was the drummer from the Meters. And he was a student of that second line drum playing, which is playing at the back of the pocket. That just greasy New Orleans vibe. And suddenly with Friction Baby and then moving forward, especially like on How Does Your Garden Grow, songs like Live Again, there's just this greasy shuffle second line drumming. And I just realized, like, look, we've always been a three-piece. In order for our band to be successful, each player has to have their own personality, their own voice, and their own space. And I know this because when you do a demo in the studio and you program the drums and you play bass and you play guitar and it's so one-dimensional. Yeah. At least for me. Like there's the Princes of the World, and there's Her, a new artist, Her, Lenny Kravitz. But for most of us, it becomes one-dimensional because we hit whatever instrument we're playing, we're hitting at the same point in the pocket. And everything becomes one-dimensional. It doesn't have any depth. So with a great band and with those players, suddenly we became one of those, in our own way, became one of those rare bands that each has those elements. And it's always been a check to me, because I've seen too many bands, great bands, whether it was The Police or Tears for Fears, or so many bands where they broke up and the lead singer went off on his own, and more often than not, it wasn't nearly as good as that band. And what made that band so great was the tension, and that the drummer didn't believe the hype about the singer, and that they fought and they butted heads. But the end result that made it through that creative sieve and passed the litmus test, and it was, you're a foil to each other in a great band, was that finished product. And so that was really overt, and recognizing that and saying, we each have a voice, and Tom has his style. I've got my literal voice. And then our drummers, whether it's Michael Jerome on drums now, a beast, and
incredible,
so good, and Travis McNabb and some of the studio drummers we've used, it's always trying to keep that distinct DNA.
Well, and too, I'll say too, the Deluxe has that too. I mean, I think anybody that had a brain could have heard that record and gone, this is going to be a really good band for a long time. Because, in my humble opinion, even with good, the drums on good, and everything is there. It's not people just playing. There's thought to what is happening. There's space for each other, and even on Deluxe, like, it's all throughout Deluxe. So I think what's fun to really follow y'all's career, even now, like the newest records, there's a real thought to what's happening. And I think that usually yields really great results, because I think it shows some intentionality that really makes songs better.
It's interesting because there was a series of albums, DVDs that came out, I don't know, in the 90s, early 2000s. They were called classic albums. Remember those?
Oh, dude. I wore those out.
Oh, my God. Like the Songs in the Key of Life, Stevie Wonder, the Elton John Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, or Joshua Tree. And you go back and you're reminded that, these albums just didn't happen.
That's right.
They were slaved over and worked over, and very overt. And yes, there was this divine inspiration that happened on the fly, but there was also a very clinical way of putting the record together.
That's right.
And we did that too. I mean, you can't manufacture Inspirado, as Jack Black once famously in Tenacious D.
Yeah.
But once you have that inspiration, man, honing it down and crafting it and making it bulletproof was something Better Than Ezra certainly did. And look, man, that's why Better Than Ezra is still around. I mean, we've a lot of our bands, our peers that sold a lot more records than us and had a moment bigger than us are no longer around. And we're still doing, amphitheater tours and going, well, not this summer, unfortunately, but, we had one. But this is coming out in 2023, right?
Yes. If at all.
It's so backed up.
So tell me what's four? What's the hot take four? Give it to me.
Hot take four.
Hot take four is that demoitis is a real thing.
Oh man!
Now,
talk to that.
So demoitis is a term derived from the Latin demotitis, which was from a scarab beetle found in Egypt. No, I'm kidding. For demonstration demo. Itis is something that when you do a quick recording of your song, and then later you get in with the big producer who you've paid $250,000 to, and you do the real version of the song, and then everybody in the band, the manager, and the label are just like, man, y'all are gonna hate me for saying this, but I like the demo more. And you're like, no, but we have London Symphony Orchestra playing on the song now, and it's recorded at Blackbird or Olympic Studios, and you're like, nope, that one you did on the laptop, the shitty version, that's the one that has the soul.
Why is that?
I think that when that first inspiration is hitting you as a songwriter and you're committing it to a work tape. And so you're hearing hit songs where the vocal from the iPhone voice memo is being taken and stretched and manipulated, and that's the lead vocal, because that first inspiration, the first time you sing it, that uncertainty in the notes, because when you first sing a song that you've written, you sing it much different 6 months later, 5 years later, 10 years later. And there's something about that first thing that lit the spark to write the song in that bedroom or that writing room or that studio is really special. And then there's just a certain tentativeness about a demo. There's just a purity to it. And one of the great stories of a famous demoitis, but a demo that it was peerless, was Someone Like You, Dan Wilson, and Adele.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So check this out. So there was a studio in West Hollywood. It was an alley in the 7500 block of Santa Monica Boulevard. It was called Harmony Studio. A buddy of mine ran it, and he rented it out to different songwriters. And Dan Wilson was in there with Adele, and she'd only done the first record with the single Chasing Pavements.
Chasing Pavements, yeah.
And they were writing the song, and there was that big Yamaha C7 grand piano in there, and they wrote Someone Like You, a vocal and piano. And it's funny because the guy who was engineering at the time, and I forget his name, and he was a great kid, and he ended up getting a Grammy for engineering the demo. So I'm giving away the twist at the end. So they did the demo of Someone Like You. I'm like, oh my God, we love this song. One of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion. And then they went back to London, they being Adele, and she got with Paul Epworth, her producer, and they got with the biggest studio musicians. I'm not sure where they recorded it, probably Air Studios or Olympic or Abbey Road. And they had the London Symphony Orchestra playing on this song. And after they spent countless thousands of dollars, what happened? They were like, the demo, the vocal and the piano is the best thing. There's a vulnerability, there's uncertainty, there's a rawness to the emotion. And and that ended up becoming, a worldwide number one. Dan got a Grammy, I think, for producing that. And the guy who actually did it his name was Paul Allen, because it's the same name as the Microsoft guy who passed away recently. But he got a Grammy for engineering it. So it was just amazing. But there's a lesson to be learned there. First, when you're doing your demo, take it seriously, because these days with digital recording, you can take digital, and you can manipulate it and do so many things with it, and you just never know. Take your time with it, or just throw it down. But the demoitis is real. There's a reason. And it's not in the AMA, American Medical Association, doesn't recognize it as a condition. But demoitis is right up there. Yeah. And that's not as bad as colitis.
That's true.
Or tonsillitis.
But both of them do stink.
Demoitis is a real thing, and we need to start recognizing.
Do you have an example of that in your career? A song like that?
Juicy.
Really?
Juicy was on the Better Than Ezra 2005 album, Before the Robots. And the vocal you hear is the demo vocal, and it's all gibberish. In the verses, all the words I'm singing was just gibberish. And the funny thing is, I had to go back when we were doing the lyrics for the album, and I had to reverse engineer the lyrics because I ended up writing lyrics and re-singing the vocal, and it just sounded whack. And so we were like, the demo lyrics, the demo vocal sounds great. Why aren't we keeping that? I'm like, because it's gibberish. So they were like, well, we're keeping that. And I was like, okay. And so the lyrics you ever read for the song are really they're not real, because the real lyrics that I'm singing are gibberish. It's some strange thing. So now Juicy, I think it went to number 14 on Hot AC or something like that. But that song, got licensed. To this day, gets licensed so much.
Isn't that hysterical?
It's crazy, but the demo. And I couldn't recapture the offhanded, I wasn't taking it serious. So I was just being silly. I just had this drum beat I found. I wanted to do a song that sounded like P-Funk. And so that's my demo.
It's funny. I think about that with, and I actually have done a 5 Hot Take on this, but Red Hot Chili Peppers, Soul to Squeeze. Dimma-dong-dong, the sit-dong-dong, begin the mama song gonna get. That was a number one alternative rock song, and absolutely has one of the most bizarre moments. So let me ask you this before we get to our final hot take.
The final hot take.
You bring up Dan Wilson, who, much like you, is in a band, Semisonic, that had great success. You guys, it's funny because this actually dovetail joints really great into my last question. You guys both have had success as songwriters and as artists. What do you think, the longer you've been writing songs, what gets harder the longer you write, songs?
The heart is remembering to keep it simple, is not be afraid to just use a lot of the same chords you've always used, to not second guess yourself. For me as a songwriter, for other people, it's so much easier because I'm not thinking about, oh, did I already do that chord progression before? Is this cool enough for my fans? It's just something I would say. I'm just throwing stuff out there, and inspiration happens that way. It doesn't come tentatively, or it doesn't make an appointment with you to inspire you. It just comes out of the blue. And so when I'm writing songs and not second guessing myself, and I have no other consideration than what suddenly inspires me, that's when I get the best songs. So as an artist, it's harder and harder to remember that. Just just write a simple song. And then I always, if I'm having a problem, I go listen to Tom Petty. Tom Petty was the king of all through his career. It's so simple and brilliant, stripped down. I've said this, and I've got this music, and I've got these lyrics. How do I do some judicious editing and strip away the fat and just get to the meat of the song and make it simple? Keep it simple, stupid. Is such a great thing. So I have no fear of just writing simple songs, because I did get to a point where I was like, oh, I need to use these chords I've never used, or this progression I really don't understand. It's not that great, or I've got to do a time change or something like that, which when it's fun, when it works, but I just keep writing simple songs. I'm not afraid of writing, a 3-chord song, a 4-chord song. It's the same thing. Yeah. So it's just to not try to second guess myself and not try to impress myself, and just say, and just write what you know and write what you're good at. Because I don't know, did you ever want to be a different artist than you actually were?
Every day.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I do really well writing a pop song that's got a little left of center vibe, but I'm not going to write Kid A. I'm not that guy, and so let them do what they do really well, and I'm going to do what I do really well and be happy with that, and just live in that lane.
Okay, so what's the final hot take? What's the dish?
Hot take 5.
The final hot take is, God, this is a whole thing. I was thinking about debut albums. The final hot take is the best debut album of a band, of an artist. Now, which is big.
You're coming in like lava hot on this one.
So this is a lot of ears pricked up late in the podcast. I know. Like I think everything you've said is horseshit thus far, Kevin. But you're gonna step your toe into the heated waters of great debut.
I am dying to hear this.
At first, I was going to say Beastie Boys' "License to Ill," but that's just something I would be expected to say.
Oh man!
Then I was going to say Violent Femmes, the first album, but then that would make me sound too old.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was going to say Jeff Buckley, "Grace."
Oh my god!
Which is one of the greatest debuts of album, but he put 3 covers on it. He did Hallelujah.
Yep.
He did "Lilac Wine" by Nina Simone, and "Hallelujah" is Leonard Cohen, and then he did "Corpus Carry Crystal," which is a traditional a Christian song. So I was like, that's not it. And so I'm going to go with hot take number 5, best debut album, The Killers' "Hot Fuss."
Oh, tell me why. Walk me through it. Because
from the beginning song, every song is peerless and it's perfect. And then Brandon Flowers' lyrics and the attitude and the consistency of the sound, this post-punk new wave, tip of the hat to the Cars and sound is just consistent through the whole record. And I just listened to it and I'm just like, God, I hate you guys because it's so good. And even the mixing and production by Mark Needham. If you A/B that album to other albums, it just sounds like crap. It's just small and dirty, but that was intentional. So The Killers' "Hot Fuss" is, for me, is the best band artist debut in my opinion. And look, this is again, these are treacherous waters. There's chum right now in the water. And sharks are surfing.
To me, Brandon Flowers, I think, is going to be, and he is now, thank God, because he's still active and still as amazing as he's always been. But I really do think, in retrospect, he's going to be one of those guys that's really sneakily undervalued. I think for a lyricist, for a songwriter.
Yeah.
And I think his solo albums have made great steps toward people realizing, because I think when you have an album, when you have a sound like The Killers, it's really easy to not realize what's going on. Because it's so anthemic, it's so big, and it's so efforted in a good way. His vocals are so, they're so in front of your face. But I think, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a Killers guy. And it took a friend of mine who I have a lot of respect for. About 2 years ago, he's like, you need to spend more time with him. And I was like, I can't, it's just not my thing. But the minute I was like, all right, I'm going to sort of reapproach, I was like, dude, this stuff is so profound. And I think even more so when you see interviews with him or really realize how much he knows what he's doing. It was like, oh, okay.
I love a band that has a vision and a sound and a whole persona from out of the gates, because most of us don't know, and it was so meticulous. And that album is that. It is the sound of a band from Vegas.
Yes.
It's glittery and it's decadent and it just sounds so good and timeless. And then later albums, I made fun of that song, "Are we human? Or are we dancer?" And then I was like, are we dancer? What? That's terrible. Now I love that song.
It's incredible.
And their newest single, "Caution," is right up there with all their best songs, So I'm just a fan. I love a band just being consistent and having a return to form and just being around. Because as you know, in our business, and it's hard to stick around and continue writing good music and not get disenchanted or break up or whatever, And I love it that they're just a band making great music. And the last Pilgrimage Festival, they played Pilgrimage Festival, and they came out and they did some Cars because Rick Ocasek had just passed away, and I got to meet them and see them live, and I was like, oh my God, they're even great live.
One of my friends saw them at Glastonbury, and do you know John Green?
Yeah.
Incredible writer. So John was telling me, he was like, it was one of the most epic moments of my life. He sent me a video And they said it's seeing that many people and then playing. He's like, I've had rare moments in my life that felt like that moment.
He's like Elvis and Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Mixed in, and throw a little Mormon in there.
Yeah.
And you've got.
I would say too, he's got to me, and I'm not the most educated, but I always think of him as like a Bruce Springsteen. He's got a really honest, yes.
His love for Springsteen is unabashed, and you can hear it in When You Were Young, or even hear it in Caution. You know, from Sam's Town, which was the second record on, you really hear the Springsteen. But Hot Fuss was just this moment, like all the great debut albums that. Because Better Than Ezra Deluxe was not, like, fans may think this, but as an artist, I don't think it was peerless from start to finish. But that album is just, Hot Fuss is just, it's just bulletproof.
Well, look at us. We did it, didn't we?
We did it. Oh my God.
People have been hot. They've been 5 hot taken at this point. Dude, thank you for doing this.
Hey, listen. No one's going to be upset with you or blame you if after this podcast you just say, what's the point in doing anymore? and close shop. And
all of the hottest takes have been taken.
There's no point. There's no point to continue after the KG. DB and KG.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Brother, I'm such a fan, and thank you. I'm honored. I am a little miffed that you've done 13 episodes of Dadville, and I haven't.
Hey, listen, there's more.
One of the best known dads out there.
That's what we want.
Dave's 5 Hot Takes, yeah!